Hey everyone, I'm the Rev, and on the Man Ultimate, they've started doing a Mustang challenge as one of the daily races. So this race was split 1, I've qualified 13th, it's Portimao, let's see how we get on. Let's go! Reacted to the lights, not particularly well, but I've only lost 1 place so far. That'll do, donkey, that'll do. Down to 14th off the start. The first couple of corners, we all know what it's like in sim racing. This is where your race can end prematurely. Get the inside. I thought the inside was the safest place to be, nice and early on the brakes, watch for the contact. Oh, somebody exits in stage right. I will go back and review the incidents as the race progresses once it's settled down a bit. We're back to 13th. 13th place, it's unlucky for some, was it going to be unlucky for us? They're all on the brakes early, into this corner, we're all concertinaing up, it catches me out and I give him a little bit of a tap. Didn't see him then didn't see him on the left. Gave that guy a nudge. Getting me excuses in early there that I didn't see him on the left hand side. He was still there, he tried to hang it out, but he couldn't get it done. Not what we needed, the aero damage, but it is what it is. He's facing the wrong way, so he's had a worse start than we have. Not the finest race start you're ever going to see, but it could have been worse. We could have been that guy facing in the wrong direction. We've got a little bit of aero damage, but overall, it's not been too bad a start. I was hoping now that we could just settle into the race. Make sure everything sets up right. What you'll notice in this race is I've got my TC slip angle set far too high, so in the last sector I start to lose a lot of time. This lad's not started too confidently, I wouldn't say. Obviously I did tap him though. I had give him a little bit of a nudge from the rear, so he may be carrying some damage. Come on Mustang, let's go. I think it's been a fantastic little addition to the daily race roster, this Mustang challenge. The car's fantastic, it feels great. Do give this race a go if you haven't tried it. 8, 4 and 4, that'll do us. How's the tyres? Tyres are nice and warm. Oh, warm enough, let's see how we get on. TC power cut and TC slip angle both on 4. I said that'll do, but I was completely wrong. As this race goes on, you'll see why. Watch for the contacts. You'll see that in the last sector, I'm not able to get the rotation that the other guys are, and that's down to my TC slip angle. I was a bit slow then out of there. Don't invite this lad onto me, Penguin. If I can't pronounce the name immediately, I'll just say what I think it looks like. So Pinguina, he was behind me, I was calling him the Penguin. I don't mean any disrespect. Think he's a bit better than me on traction. I know I've mentioned that my TC slip angle and my TC power cut was set too high, and that's why the guy ahead was able to get away from me in the traction areas as he was able to rotate the car better than I could, and his TC probably wasn't cutting the power as much. 17 minutes to go. We've settled now into a bit of a rhythm on lap 2, so let's have a look at those incidents on the first lap. Let's start with the first car that we saw exiting stage right. As we can see, loads of people running wide into the first couple of turns. This lad's currently in 5th position, 2 yellow Mustangs behind him. He gets tagged unceremoniously, that one's a daft one, no need for that at all. But he's on the grass, safe rejoin, and off he popped with the rest of his race. And what about the other Mustang that we saw virtually facing in the wrong direction? Well, as you can see, he's having a decent battle here with a fellow yellow Mustang. He's coming now round the right-hander, gets on the power a bit early, big squirm, tag from behind. I think he might have been going anywhere, but trust me, that's easily done. Really, really easily done, as you're going to find out. Jumping back to our race now, it's still lap 2, and I'm going to have my work cut out if I'm going to try and go forward. Not too bad. Just giving myself a little self-assessment there, saying that I'm not doing too bad. However, this is the part of the track where the TC slip was the most noticeable. Right now, the Mustang, she doesn't want to turn at all. She just wants to understeer on the power, and these lads ahead of me, they can rocket onto that straight faster than me. I just couldn't get close to them. And of course, that not getting onto the power early enough was going to hurt me all the way down this straight. 0.7 the gap, 0.4 to the Penguin. Pinguina. Not only was I losing touch with the car in front, but Pinguina behind, he was going to start putting me under pressure. 0.4 the gap. And you know what I'm like, I'll start concentrating on my mirrors, I'll miss my braking points, and I'll just gradually just go backwards. So that was something that I needed not to do in this race. I think moving forward was going to be difficult. Half a second up on this lap. That was a decent first sector though, managed to pull out just a little bit of time on Pinguino. I'm a little bit deep there, but I cut it back to get on the power early. No harm done. So we're in 12th. We were indeed in 12th position, and to be fair, I would have been happy with that as a result, considering how I was driving. I don't think the pace was particularly spectacular, so 12th would have done me nicely. Little mistake from the lad in front. However, I was still half a second up on this lap, so it wasn't the worst lap I'd ever done, but I certainly needed to find my way back into the 46s if I was going to make any kind of progress. Try and keep the pressure on. Sometimes in these races, that's all you can do, is do your very best to put the driver in front under a bit of pressure and hope for a mistake. As you can see, I'd managed to close that gap up to 0.5, however this is where I was struggling massively. As I say, as soon as you get on the power you can see the front of the Mustang, she doesn't want to turn in. I certainly needed to rectify that for the rest of the week's races or I was gonna struggle. Don't think I'm particularly sparkling there through the final sector. I'm definitely losing some time there. 147 dead. 147 dead wasn't going to be good enough. In qualifying, I've been in the 1 minute and 46s, but for some reason here, I just couldn't find that pace at all. Penalty there for track limits, not sure what that was to be honest. Not sure what I'm on about there, because as you can see from the replay, I was way beyond the track limits, so I don't know what I'm mourning for. Don't really know how I exceeded, and then I'll be honest. I've watched the replay. As I say, don't know what on earth I'm talking about there. Looking at the replay, I'm miles over the track limits, so I don't know what I'm mourning about at all. Fully deserve that penalty. Everybody's got some good pace here. Steady. We'd only been racing for around about 7 minutes. We were on lap 4, but the pace felt steady. I wasn't really making inroads into the guy in front, certainly not over the full lap, maybe in places. But the same for the guy at the rear, Pinguino. The gap stayed steady, about 0.5, so I thought this race was turning into a tight one, with the tiniest of mistakes, that was what was going to cost you. Very early on the brakes there, caught me off guard. I think that in sector 2 of the lap, I was faster than Rinyu. I certainly closed the gap at that point, however, as we moved into sector 3, this is where I was losing the time. I just couldn't get the nose tight enough. But you live and you learn. For the next couple of races, I knocked that TC slip and power cut down to 3, and that served me much better. I was down in the mid 46s. Just got lost a bit of downforce there. Me damage to my front splitter. He's not close enough for a move though, is Penguin. He wasn't going to be close enough into turn 1, and luckily he wasn't going to be close enough into turn 2 either. I was fairly decent through this sector as well. It was the last sector where I was really struggling. Rinyu goes a bit deep. You get a bit of a rush of blood and you think you're going to be able to put the power down early and get on it. However, the front of the Mustang, she washed out on me again and I struggled to get it round the corner. Coming down now into the braking zone. Try not to activate the ABS too much, get it tucked tight and get on the power as early as you possibly can. This part of the circuit now, this is where the car goes a bit light. Drop it down to 3rd gear, throw it in, you can feel the car skirt around and then down to 1st. Get it tight and you can get on the power as soon as you possibly can. She had a little bit of a snap, but we managed to catch it. This is so close. Awesome racing. It certainly was a decent little battle. The pace between us all was fairly even, and I thought if it stays this close to the end, this will have been a decent result. Try and be as clean as we possibly can. My driver rating on Le Mans Ultimate doesn't mean anything to me at all. Silver, bronze, whichever. I think silver's probably my limit. Gold, that would be pushing a little bit too much for me. However, my safety rating, I'd like to get that as high as I possibly can. I want to try and be as clean as possible, have some decent races, and not make contact with people all the time. That's the goal on the Mon Ultimate. Leader's absolutely flying, 145. I haven't got in the 46s yet. But I will do. Oh, you will you? Well, you've got to admire the lad's confidence. He thinks he's going to get in the 146s. However, the leader, he was in the 145s, and I couldn't have done that lap time if I had 2 engines in my Mustang. This was another corner where I was struggling. I didn't throw the car far enough to the right to swing it back for the left. Absolutely natch chuffed there over track limits. The last thing I needed was to start exceeding track limits. I just needed to keep the pace up. There was a little bit of contact up ahead. I think that might have unsettled Renew. He was a little bit slow off the corner, and we managed to gain a little bit of time. Not much, but a little bit. They're getting racy ahead. And that certainly was what I was hoping for. If they started battling one another, it'd slow them down and it might allow us to get on to the end of them. This could present opportunities, you never know. So always look for the battles ahead. As you can see here, as I stated before, in Sector 2 I was pretty decent. I had the car balanced well on the brakes, I could close up to him, but in Sector 3 I'd lose all that time. They were much faster through there, but I'm terrible through this last sector.
Just send it.
We're not going to just send it, no. That's terrible advice. The crew chief there giving me some fantastic advice, just telling me to throw it up the inside willy-nilly. What a muppet. However, I think there's many a person listens to the advice given to him by their crew chief, if the driving standards I've seen are anything to go by. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm not calling other people there, I've done many a stupid thing. As we started lap 7, I'm going to skip it forward a little bit because the lad in front, Renew, he's going to get on the power too early. He's already going and I tag him. Couldn't help but tag him. I'm afraid I couldn't help but tag him. In my defence here, I felt I did all I could do. I've watched the replay again. You can see there that on the brakes, he's offline, deep in the braking zone, so he gets on the power super early. As soon as he starts to go, I'm off the throttle completely. However, I've already tagged him by the time I go past him. You can see from my face, I wasn't made up with that one. But we'll jump back now into our race because that seemed to set off a bit of a chain reaction. There was contact behind, all sorts of mess going on. 2 cars off, 1 in the gravel. Let's have a quick look what happened. The driver of the dark Mustang behind, he sees the aftermath of our contact. He thinks he's going to go around the outside of me, however that's never going to work. The blue Mustang tries to go the outside of him, but for some reason the dark coloured Mustang just doesn't turn in at all. And the blue Mustang was very aggressive. I don't understand that one at all. Skipping forward now, back to our race. It's lap 9 and I've managed to drag my way up to 10th position. I'm right up behind him now at the beginning of lap 9. I was too late there. No way I should have been trying to put my nose up there. That was ridiculous. Tiny little bits of contact, but luckily that didn't end in tears as it could have done. I was too late on the brakes. I never intended to go for a move. The door was a little bit open, but I was nowhere near close enough. That would have been absolutely crazy stuff. Absolutely ridiculous. I may have been in 11th place, but 12th, they were right behind me, right on my gearbox. This was going to be hard work to hold on to this 11th place for the next couple of laps. Every now and again though, the rear of the dark coloured Mustang ahead, that'd step out, and that just gave me a little bit of hope that I might be able to do something. Bear in mind we've got Fresnel for company, or Frenzel, however you say his name. Multitasking, not one of my strong points, you can ask the missus. I can't read people's names, try and pronounce them, and drive at the same time. I'm struggling with driving. Keep your eye now on the rear view mirror. Frenzel behind, he's going to spot a gap. He throws it up the inside, I just notice him on the radar, nearly get cleaned out. But we manage to all get round the corner, well apart from them 2 behind obviously. But Frenzel, great move he put on me. And he's going to try for another one now, as he tries to go up the inside of Sard. Something that I couldn't do. Is he going to get the move done? Tucks it tight, Sard's on the power, he's on the power. It's going to be a straight drag race down to turn 1. These two are going to get close to one another now. 2 more laps to go. Keep an eye on Frenzel. He's not daft enough to throw it up into the fast right-hander. Looking through the second right-hander, is he going to make a move? Saad defends it. Frenzel's nowhere to go. We managed to close up behind, but we don't make contact. Thank God for that. Tuck it tight, get on the power, but look at him drive away from me over the hill. By now, we all know the reason why they were driving away from us, so if there's anything you take from this video, it's definitely mess with your TC slip and your TC power cut, as that can make a massive difference in the race. So while we can, let's just have a quick look at that move from Frenzel on me. I leave the door open, he's up the inside. There's a little bit of contact between a couple of cars behind, but it's a good move from Frenzel. Skipping our race forward now to the final lap, lap 12. Could we do anything at all about the two lads in front? I'd managed to get right on the back of him, my Mustang looming large in the lad's rear view mirror. Could I keep the pressure on just for this final lap?
That was a bit better through there.
It was a little bit better, but only just. Here though, I'm a little bit late on the brakes, the ABS kicks in, I can feel it, I have to get off, and it's not my finest exit. I could have done with a better exit than that.
Well, regardless, I've really enjoyed this cracking race.
I had indeed enjoyed it. It had been a fantastic race. Le Mans Ultimate is definitely 100% my go-to now when it comes to racing online.
Big snap there, just managed to catch it. Thanks to the quality of the feedback.
I do certainly love the force feedback on Le Mans Ultimate. My only complaint is at slow speed. At very low speed, it can be somewhat vague and almost dead feeling in the wheel, and you just don't get any information back from the car. If they could solve that problem at low speed, I'd be absolutely made up. I got as close as I possibly could, but unfortunately I think that 12th was going to be the best that I could possibly do, and you know what? I'll take it. It was decent enough.
Great race, really enjoyed. Really clean for the most part.
We'd had one or two little collisions, but nothing major, so I'd say that was fair.
Just nothing I could do about Saad there. Well played, mate. Good drive.
If you haven't tried it yet, give the Mustang Challenge a try. As always, I've been the Reverend. Thank you very much for watching.